2. So in this step, you're going to have an opportunity to explore where you are currently assertive in your lives and where you are not. But before I cover off step 2, I just want to catch up on how you got on with step 1, all about raising awareness of where your emotional needs are not being met. And that can be a really, really tricky one to start exploring. Ultimately, none of us want to hold our hands up to the fact that some of our needs are not being met. But this is the stuff that is underpinning a lot of your behaviours, your thought patterns, your feelings, and certainly your behaviours. So starting to dare to step into that and start to be honest with yourself and start to look at, with curiosity, this is the thing, we need to look at things with curiosity and not judgment or blame. Okay, it is what it is, and it is about just starting to explore and unravel what's really going on for you that gets in the way of you either speaking out assertively, or it trips you into not saying anything or being more aggressive or passive aggressive. So this will all start to make more sense the more you kind of start to step into this world. So well done for everybody who kind of gave the needs one your best shot. We've got 4 weeks together, and it's unlikely in that time that everything's going to get resolved for you, but these 8 steps become like a blueprint for your life going forward. And one of the key things, this has been a massive learn from my own life, the more I look at and meet my own emotional needs or ask for my needs to be met, the more comfortable I feel, so more likely I feel okay to voice my opinion. Those of you that know me, my default is emotional eating, and when I'm not meeting my needs, I reach for the coping mechanisms in my life that help me to feel buoyant. So this stuff is super, super important. So well done for completing step 1 yesterday. So step 2, in this step, we're going to get you to explore where you are already assertive in your lives and where you're not. And this is really important because it isn't black or white. We're not assertive all of the time. We're not passive all of the time. We kind of go in and out of these behaviour types at any given time, depending on what's going on in our lives. And I just want to get you to consider something. One of the biggest reasons that drives our behaviour, okay, so being passive or being aggressive or being manipulative or being assertive, are behaviours. And one of the things that drives our behaviours are our thoughts and our feelings. So as humans, okay, we think in circles, okay? We don't like not having all of the information available to you, and I'm sure you can relate to that. So what we do as humans, in a situation where something happens, okay, if we don't have all of the information, and we're not very good at checking in, sorry, I just dropped my paper, we're not very good at checking in with people or checking in with ourselves to ask for clarity, to check in to say, what did you mean by that? So what happens, we're in a situation and we react. So basically what happens is we fill in the blanks. So you imagine you've got this circle and something happens and you have part of the circle. And what we do, rather than checking in with that other person to gain clarity, we jump to conclusions, or we fill in the blanks with our own story. And quite often what that is, we fill it in with what we've called our script story. So it's all the things, so there'll be repeated patterns in our life, okay? So I'll give you an example. You're walking down the street and a friend's on the opposite side of the street and she walks past without saying hello. Now, if you're in a good place and you're feeling good, you might be thinking, oh, that's odd. I wonder what's wrong with her. Maybe she didn't see me, or I'll give her a text later and just to catch up. If you're in a vulnerable place, the chances are you might then start thinking, oh my God, why didn't she talk to me? What have I done wrong? So this is what I mean by filling in the blanks. And we all do this. We all jump to conclusions. We all catastrophize. We make up stories. As humans, we think in narratives. And it's these thoughts and these feelings that drive our behavior. So I want you to kind of just start thinking about how many times how you fill in the blanks in your world. You know, are you somebody who jumps to conclusions? Do you tend to go to worst case scenario? If you're somebody who lives in that world a little bit, then the chances are your passiveness or your aggressiveness is likely to be more common than somebody who doesn't do that quite so much. So learning the skills of being able to kind of settle down and be aware when you're jumping to conclusions, where you're filling in the blanks yourself, is really, really important. So today's step is about getting you to look at different areas of your life and areas where you are assertive, where you feel comfortable speaking up, and areas where you're not. And it's really important because there will be areas of your life where you are assertive, and it's important to know that you already have those skills in certain situations, but in other situations, often with family, or if there's an emotional connection to something, that's when we tend to be more passive or more triggered into the aggressive or passive aggressive. So in your worksheets there is a page that gives you some ideas around areas of your life and some ideas of under assertive behaviours and over assertive behaviours. And the areas you're going to look at today are physical space. You know, I'm working with a lady at the moment, she doesn't even get a chance to have a bath. She's got 5 children, all aged over 18, but she never gets to have a bath on her own. They are constantly coming in to talk to her, and part of her likes that, you know, her mummy duties, but part of that, her personal space and her physical space is kind of invaded, so she doesn't get a lot of time for herself. So that's your first area of life, physical space. The second area is establishing new personal or business relationships. So you're going to take a look at relationships, intimate and sexual activities, setting boundaries, public appearance, authorities, and money matters. So it's really nice to break down those areas of your life and start to look at each of those areas from a assertive or non-assertive behaviours. So it's giving you some guidelines to think a bit more broadly in your lives. So that is today's step. Okay, firstly, start to think about where you're filling in the blanks in your lives and how that might be triggering your thoughts and your feelings, which then lead to either the passive or the aggressive behaviour. We all do it. Again, look at it with curiosity, not judgment, but being mindful that everything you think isn't accurate. And part of being assertive is being able to notice when you get triggered, but be able to step back from it, to give yourself some time to look at and think, is that true? Is that what's really going on? And we're going to cover that off a little bit more as we go through the other steps. I just want to start getting you to setting that scene for you. So that's your step for today. Look at the different areas of your life and look at where currently you're under assertive, or look where you're over assertive. And your action for today is to identify 2 areas where you are currently assertive, and then as many areas as you possibly can where you currently feel you're under or over assertive. And that's going to give us a lovely starting point when we move into the next step. Okay, guys, any questions, pop them in the comments below. I look forward to seeing your answers, and enjoy.